All right, today we're doing a deep dive into Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens. It's a huge book, massive scope. Our mission isn't to cover every detail, obviously, but to really zero in on the core idea Harari puts forward, what really made Homo sapiens, well, us, the rulers of the planet.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question. And Harari's answer is pretty distinct. It wasn't tools, not fire, not even just language in the simple sense. He argues it's our unique capacity for collective fiction, our ability to invent and believe in shared stories, things like gods, nations, human rights, money, these imagined realities.
Imagined realities, okay.
And he structures the whole thing around 4 big turning points. The cognitive revolution is where it really kicks off.
Right, the cognitive revolution, that's what, around 70,000 years ago. Harari posits some kind of brain mutation happened, giving us a new kind of language, not just watch out for the tiger, but something more abstract.
Exactly. Yeah. Language that could handle fiction. Things that don't physically exist. And this, he says, was the key to large-scale cooperation. It worked in 2 ways. First, gossip. Sharing information about who's trustworthy, who isn't. That helps build cohesion in small groups.
Okay, small groups, like a tribe or village. What's the limit there?
Anthropologists talk about a magic number, maybe around 150 people. Beyond that, you can't really know everyone well enough just through gossip and personal relationships. But the second function of this new language, creating shared myths, common stories, imagined orders, that's what allowed sapiens to break that barrier, to cooperate flexibly in huge numbers, millions even.
So it's less about raw intelligence and more about shared storytelling. Believing the same concepts allows us to work together, even with strangers. But wait, money. You mentioned money. That feels pretty real. I mean, I can hold a coin, right? How's that a fiction, like a god or a nation?
But why does that coin have value? It's not the metal itself, not usually. It's because we all agree it has value. It's a system built entirely on mutual trust, a shared belief. Someone in Tokyo accepts dollars because they trust someone in London will also accept them. It's pure collective imagination, arguably the most successful one ever.
Huh. Okay, I see the angle there. It's the agreement that's the fiction we all buy into. Right, so that leads us to another really provocative part of the book. The agricultural revolution, starting around, 10,000 BCE?
Yes. And Harari's take is stark. He calls it history's biggest fraud.
Biggest fraud, wow. We usually think of it as the dawn of civilization, cities, progress.
Exactly. And Harari acknowledges it led to a population explosion. From an evolutionary standpoint, more copies of the sapiens' DNA was a wild success. But for the average individual, he argues life got significantly worse.
Worse how?
Well, think about it. Hunter-gatherers had varied diets, more leisure time, fewer infectious diseases jumping from livestock. Farmers got stuck eating maybe 1 or 2 staple crops, leading to malnutrition. They worked much harder, backbreaking labor. They were tied to the land, vulnerable to famine if the crop failed. More susceptible to disease. That's where his famous line comes in. We did not domesticate wheat. It domesticated us. We became slaves to the agricultural cycle.
Slaves to wheat. But surely the population growth, the potential for cities, specialization, isn't that progress? How can it be a fraud if the species thrived?
That's the nub of it. Harari forces you to ask, progress for whom? The species as a whole, or the individual living through it. He really pushes back against the idea that evolutionary success automatically equals better lives or more happiness for the individuals involved.
It certainly makes you think. Okay, so Sapiens is obviously a bestseller, hugely influential. But you hear pushback, especially from academics. Why the skepticism?
Well, the book's strength is also its potential weakness, depending on your perspective. It's a grand narrative. It paints a vast, sweeping picture across millennia. To do that, Harari has to simplify enormously complex historical debates. And sometimes specific theories like that 1 to 50 number being a hard limit or the fraud interpretation being the definitive take are presented perhaps more assertively than the academic consensus might warrant. They're often still debated points or simplifications.
So great for the big picture, maybe less reliable on the nitty-gritty details.
Kind of, yeah. It's brilliant for provoking thought, for connecting dots in unexpected ways, but maybe not the final word on every specific historical event or interpretation.
Got it. And this connects to the later parts of the book, right? The scientific revolution, capitalism, empire, all leading towards something Harari calls the Gilgamesh Project.
That's right. The Gilgamesh Project is his term for humanity's modern quest, driven by science and capital, to basically achieve godlike powers, to overcome aging, death, suffering. The ultimate goal being immortality, endless happiness, and even the power to design life itself, possibly transforming Homo sapiens into something new, Homo Deus, as he explores in his next book. Our fictions, like corporations and nations, are now funding the science to potentially make us gods.
Wow. So the fictions we created might lead to us literally rewriting our own biology. Ultimately, then, the big takeaway from Sapiens, the real power of the book, seems to be forcing you, the reader, to really look hard at the world around you.
Exactly. To see how much of it money, laws, nations, rights is built on these shared imaginative constructs, things we collectively choose to believe in.
So here's the final thought to leave you with, building on Harari's own conclusion. If we are on the verge of becoming godlike, upgrading ourselves, how do we square that with the fact that after all this progress, all these revolutions, we still haven't really answered that nagging question from the agricultural revolution? Are we actually any happier?